What's going on, everybody? Stubbs here from Retro Handhelds. Today we're taking a look at the MagicX Zero 40. This is a brand new DS shmup, basically, machine that runs Android and the A133P processor. Very, very interesting, coming in at around $75 plus $10 shipping. I really want to show you around and see what we can do with this in today's review. All right, let's hop in. So you might have seen this already on our podcast where we did a quick boxing. This is going to be from Monday's episode. What was it? 623. We took a basic look at the device, went over just ergonomics, but in today's review video, we're going to be diving in and looking at Nintendo DS and arcade shmups, specifically really what the best use case I've found to be for this. Also, you can run Android touch games because yes, we do have a touch display now. A big improvement in my mind over the MagicX 028, the little miniature handheld, and also the X Mini M. MagicX has been cooking for a while in this one. They had an original release date and they pushed back a bit. So now here it is, released on June 24th, and I've been playing with this quite a bit in the last few days here, and this one is just so, I would say not even meeting my expectations, but exceeding them. I was kind of like, well, it might be cool, we'll see. They tend to not do touchscreen, but the fact that they are doing touchscreen kind of blows my mind. We have two front-facing stereo speakers here, a single Hall effect joystick, we have a D-pad there with pretty decent pivot. The face buttons are not loud. Everything on this is very quiet. I've been playing in bed at night with my 3-year-old son even sleeping in the room here. It did not wake him up or my wife. Like, it's just a very quiet device. Quiet shoulders, L2, R2, L1, R1. Also, it's very lightweight. 100 grams less than the Anbernic RG Slide. A little bit more, coming in around, 286 grams there. We have a little bit of air exhaust there just to let some of the heat come out. This is a engineering sample, so there's no branding right now on this one, but I believe most about this is finalized. Volume up and down on the left, and on the right we do have two micro SD card slots. This did come with a card installed. You have a 64 gig card option and a 128 gig card option. If you want to get the 128 gig card option, let's just go over to the website real quick and look here together. You can get the 128 gig for $83, so not much more if you want double the space. And this did come shipped with games, so realize that. There's two options for this. They have the black one here, which I think pops and looks pretty nice with that Xbox coloring on the face buttons. Otherwise, pretty simple. The white color here, though, is really nice looking. That's the one I actually like a little bit better. Again, colored face buttons, but very clean looking. Now, this is very reminiscent of the Nintendo 2DS. I would say it appears to be, I haven't had one for a while, but it appears to be a little bit smaller. Also, it is lighter weight than a lot of handhelds that I've been using lately. So yeah, the weight is spread out very nicely. One thing, I wish it could have been just a completely, brick with rounded edges, because right now we have a little bit of a pop, a little bit of a bump out on the bottom and on the top here for the screen. Now, talking about the screen here, we are looking at a 4-inch IPS full view, zero distance OCA full lamination, 480 by 800. Temperatures on this tend to go from 35 degrees Celsius up to 40 degrees Celsius. It really doesn't get too warm in my testing. It comes in, black, white, and they say a blue transparent option is coming, so we'll see about that. Runs 64-bit Android, like I was saying, if you're interested in that. Uses a launcher in here called the Dawn Launcher. I'm running some Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow right now. Dawn Launcher basically is a modified version of Daigisho, an awesome front end. Right now they have it configured just to run DS and arcade, which is really the focus of this video today. Now, if you want, you can go over here into the rest of the OS and access all the apps, the different emulators. Yeah, you can run other stuff if you want. PSP, PS1, N64, DS, Dreamcast. There's also a few Android games already pre-installed. This does have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built in, so yes, you can do retro achievements. Downside though, they're using Drastic as the standalone DS emulator on here. Although it does run full speed in most of the games I've been testing, it does not have retro achievements. So getting something like Melon DS in here, maybe a little more optimized, that would be ideal so we can get the retro achievements. But if you're not worried about that, no big deal, right? Like, this is going to do what you need for a very budget-friendly price in today's post-tariff world. But we do have like Balatro on here and reverse Estuary. If you want to use Android Touch in here, it does have an auto flip you can enable, and you can go between vertical and horizontal. And then, you know, for Balatro, for wider content, use your touch screen. It's going to look good like that. You can reconfigure the buttons as you want, but I mostly enjoy playing in this, what they're meant to have here, which is this really nice, very tall screen. So Nintendo DS scales pretty well, top screen, bottom screen being the same size, and also vertical shoot 'em ups. We'll take a look here in a moment. But finishing up the specs and rounding out, we have for the CPU that A133P at 1.8 gigahertz. The GPU is actually a PowerVR GE8300. RAM is going to be DDR4 2 gigabytes clocked at 1866 megahertz. Network is going to be 2.4G Wi-Fi, so a little slower Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 4.2. It does have a vibration motor, and it feels very nice in my testing so far. I love that it has multi-touch and stereo speakers, front firing, meaning it's pretty crystal clear. Not a lot of bass, but it's just nice and clear, crisp for your pixelated retro music. Battery is going to be at 4,300 milliamp hours, 5 to 7 hours of battery life, they say on this. So far, battery's been sipping for the most part, and being an A133P, you know, we've seen it in other devices recently, such as their own 028 and the TrimUI Brick, a very, very popular device. So this chipset runs well. It's not crazy overpowered or anything, but for budget devices, I think it just hits the right spot. The size is 136 by 105 by 17 millimeters, and that kind of rounds out the specs. You can buy it in our description if you're interested at MagicX, and again, 75 USD plus $10 shipping for the 64 gig, which is probably the one I'd recommend. Save yourself a little money, just load on the games you want. The card on here right now is shipping with actually SanDisk branded cards in the first batch, so you do get a benefit buying the first batch. Later they say they're going to switch to Kioxia, and if you do place your order before June 28th here, your order is going to be shipped by July 5th. As far as what's in the box, I'm not going to go over that again really, but it does come with the USB-C cable, the instruction manual, and that's about it. Really all you need. All right, moving back over to the device now. Before we dive into things, I mean, let's just look. So they've included a couple games on there. Yes, Balatro is right on here, and you can switch it. Let's see, do we have auto rotate? I'm sorry, it's not auto rotate. You need to manually rotate it. But if you're gonna play a widescreen Android game, for this, it's a little funny looking, right? You have the buttons, you won't really need those. They work, but they're gonna be a little inversed, so you might need to remap. Little teeny tiny. I probably will not be using this for any touchscreen Android games, but if you wanted to, there you go. It does work, and the touch does work well. I just love to see that they've added touch to their devices. As far as what it looks like in the operating system as well there, you can just swipe from the top to get access to it. You do have a slider there. It gets fairly bright. I wouldn't say it's probably bright enough to be playing in direct sunlight though, so be aware of that. It does get nice and dim. I was playing last night in bed and it gets very dim. There's even this really cool feature I want to show you, night light if you want less blue light affecting your eyes. But not only that, there's this color boost feature in the display that I found so freaking cool. So I have this color enhance option, so you can dial in, you know, much like your MIUI devices, you can dial the brightness of your colors up and down. I actually find a little bit decreased value makes it look a little bit more vibrant on the IPS and up my saturation a bit. Very clean. Contrast I leave right in the middle there. So this should make a very nice pop-in display. Maybe too saturated, we'll see. We do have a smart backlight option if you want, and it does have a reading mode you can enable. As far as Android goes though, it's pretty much no frills, the usual options there. You do have your system options. I would have to imagine there's options for OTA updates here, although nothing so far. And it gives you a nice readout for the battery. We're at 63% still. If you don't want to use Dawn Launcher, you could go in here and configure your default apps if you wanted to force it to do something else. You could do Quick Step or set your preferred launcher of choice. But I think the Dawn Launcher works really nice. They've been cooking on this. All right, enough yapping, right? Let's play some games. First, I want to show you a TATE mode. Little older game here, 1941 on Final Burn Neo. Now this is one you could probably stretch a bit more, but they've actually added a bezel there with the MAME overlay. And I want to show you the music as well. So yeah, nice crisp music. I like the treble there. If you want to quit, just hold down your home button. Bob's your uncle. If you want to know, I don't have any comparison devices today. All I really have right now with me that might be similar idea is just a Google Pixel 9a phone. But it's a similar width to their 028 device. And speaking of the 028, you know, the D-pad is very much like the 028, but their V2 version, meaning that it feels a lot better, and I like the pivot on that. It's very satisfying. Looking on over at the face buttons as well, you know, they don't protrude too much. They have this convex design, a little glossy, but they're very quiet and feel good. And the whole joystick does have a full range of motion in my testing there, and it is clickable. So that's nice to see. So it looks like they've mainly included the shmup category of arcade games here. I like that it's already curated for us. But of course you can add on your own ROMs, and I would suggest you do so. My favorite thing about this so far is, I would say, the ergonomics and just where everything's placed. It's very easy to reach L1 and R1 and L2 and R2. And this is so cool. So you can actually use the touchscreen in DS, both on the top and the bottom screens in Drastic here. Already pre-configured out of the box. Makes your life easy, makes my life easy. I'm all about it. So there's that D-pad motion there. That feels good. Moving on over to the joystick. Now the joystick here is configured, it looks like, to switch views. Oh, and the D-pad, okay. So if you go up and down, realize it's gonna switch your view on this game. Viewing angles also not too bad, not too bad. I like how you can quickly switch between games. All right. Contour test. So yeah, character's only moving if you are pushing to the edges of the left or the right on that down arrow. So that's what you like to see there. Very crisp. And as far as like other things to be considerate of when you're playing these games, it's very nice to have hotkeys in DS and in Drastic, and they're already pre-configured, so you can press L2 to swap between top and bottom screen. They're both going to work for touch. R2 is going to switch to the fast forward here, so now it's running at 200%. Be careful not to accidentally press that. I got confused for a minute when I started testing this. The only thing I noticed though when playing in bed is that you do have this blue light that's shining right in your face, and so I actually might take a little bit of electrical tape and just cut it out to a circle and just place it right there. It'll blend in with the body fairly nicely. All right, you gotta catch this bunny. That's right. Come on, bunny. Come on, bunny. Bunny, 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 bunny. Ah, bunny. Aha. That's right. You do have save state options, and if you want to access those, just press the home button once. That'll get you access to the Drastic menu. You can change your options, but this is already pretty much optimized, it feels like, right at the gate. Every game I've played has just worked, and everything just does as it's supposed to. And I've yet to really run into performance drags. Now, if there's a particular game that you have, that you know about, that's even more of a drag on performance than Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow, please do let me know in the comments below, because I'm going to be doing a live stream with this where we do a dedicated game showcase. I'm going to answer audience questions, and we're going to be taking game requests. Now, we're running at just at 1x here, but it looks really good for the size, right? Now, some people say they want 3DS on this. Yeah, if you had a more powerful processor, you could do that. But you'd lose out on something. The 3DS normally has a wider top screen and the squarish bottom screen, so this is much more suited for DS and shmups, and it makes sense, I believe. You know what I wonder? I really wonder if we could get ourselves a stylus that's going to work with this screen, and maybe 3D print or mod, you know, some stylus holder, right? Wouldn't that be cool? You actually, I really feel this is close to really emulating that DS experience really well. Mainly like the 2DS idea. As far as like the texture on the shell goes, if you're wanting to know, it is a very, very matte plastic. There is no gloss to this. There is no slipperiness. You're going to be able to grip it just fine. Now, there is no ergo bump out on the back, but I prefer it like this because it's so lightweight. And you can just kind of toss it in your bag. You could pocket this. In fact, I mean, if you want to see that, don't try this at home, kids. So there's, yeah, you could pocket it. It's fine if you want. It does have sleep since it's Android, and I have left it in sleep mode for multiple days now, and it has worked just fine. It's dipping, I don't know, maybe 2 to 3% overnight, if that. I've not had concerns really about the battery too much. The brightness, yeah, I wish the brightness would get a little bit higher to play outside, but as far as dimness goes, where I'm going to play this most of the time is indoors, it works well for that. You don't have any performance mode boosts or anything like that, But you do have a screen record, which is cool to see, in screenshot, airplane mode, location, data saver, battery saver, so you can eke out even more battery life out of it, Bluetooth as well, if you want to pair your controllers or maybe a wireless earbuds. I appreciate having the 3.5 headphone out too to use some earbuds. And having a separate USB-C for DC and OTG is nice. This doesn't have any kind of video out that I'm seeing. I'll have to double check when I get back for my next live stream video, but we can test maybe with another device and just see if it's over USB-C. I don't think so, but we'll have to confirm. The heat has been pretty decent on this so far. You know, it is getting warm when we're doing intense DS, but nothing too bad. I like the speakers. I like that they're blasting out the front. They're nice, crisp, clear. There's no really bass response in it. There's not a lot to resonate with this thin body. The joystick, you know, having one joystick is just fine by me, especially for this system, for DS and the arcade shmups. You don't really need the second joysticks for the games you're going to be playing here, so I kind of get why they only included the one. And having it be a whole joystick is a nice benefit there. And you have an extra programmable button being L3. And yeah, like I was saying, the D-pad works pretty well. It works well in that contour test. It's not my favorite D-pad in the world. You know, I like having a little bit more pivot and a little bit more, I don't know, just either make it really mushy and that NES controller style D-pad, or give me something like an AYN or a Retroid D-pad that has that kind of clicky Vita style as you're moving through the directions. This is kind of like an in-between, and it feels good. It's not my favorite style, but it's the best D-pad I've seen from MagicX yet. And the face buttons, kind of no frills. They're a little bit on the smaller side, but for the device's size, I think they work well. And I'm not finding myself doing accidental presses on them. And I just like how quiet all of these buttons are. Everything on this is quiet. Even the start and select being right there, really easy to access. Ergo is awesome, having the easy access to the shoulders right there. They're also very quiet, and I appreciate that. So there's the face buttons. There's the D-pad. L3, start, select. So if you mash them all together, yeah, you get a little noise out of there, but when you do them, you know, like that, very nice and quiet. If you smash on it, you get a little bit of a skittle rattles there. And I'm not running into any performance issues for what they're intending it to be done. I do like that there's pre-scraped box art if you do get this and stick with the built-in games. I like that. I like the Dawn launcher. They keep on iterating, and you can customize this to your heart's content there. And it comes with a number of games. What does it come with? I think 507 arcade games, and this comes with 1,400 Nintendo DS games. It even comes with iCarly 2, finally. If you're interested in ordering this, you can find it in the description below from the MagicX website, $75 plus $10 shipping, or the $83 option if you want the 128 gig card with more games on it, plus $10 shipping. So in this post-tariff world that we live in, the price is not outrageous at all. It's at the upper end of budget. I would say it's a little out of that impulse buy range, but nonetheless under $100 for what you're getting on offer here. Really nice looking IPS display, 2-player Nintendo DS on a little bit smaller display size, but it's just very portable, and you can take it around with you, and this is one people are going to enjoy for quite a while, I feel like. I want to see MagicX continue to cook to make this idea even better. Releasing maybe a more performant 3DS option would be pretty cool. I would like to see that. Having the option to switch to Android gaming is also nice to see, using the touchscreen, flipping it around to use that widescreen, and having it mainly focused on this shmup idea and going all in on it is nice. I would like to see by default having the shmup screen stretch fully, so you're not using that bezel or your overlay. Yeah, you can stretch if you want. Sometimes I do that when no one's looking, but I'd like to have that just be native where it's not getting unbalanced pixels and you're able to use up the full display. So there's one thing I think they can improve in the software. And that's kind of my thoughts today. I don't know really what else to show you all right now. Yeah, you could play N64 and Dreamcast and PSP. It's nice to see, but I'm never going to play those systems on this screen. It makes no sense. Why would I use it for that? Now, if you want it as your one and done and you mainly play DS, yes, you can still do those other systems. So it's kind of nice to see. As far as alternative options for DS goes, you know, the tried and true in the community has always been the Microsoft Surface Duo as far as emulating the DS. Then you get an OLED screen, they're bigger screens, beautiful, but you need to buy a controller to pair with it. It's a little bit clumsy. It's not a perfect solution. Battery life kind of sucks. Those are the main options. There's plenty of other handhelds though that have 1x1 displays, bigger displays, maybe even Odin, like something widescreen. You can split your DS displays. There's so many handhelds that play DS. However, having a purpose-built one with what you have on offer here for just the performance needed for drastic, fine by me. However, having a little more performance to run Melon DS so we can get retro achievements would be a bonus. I would have loved to have seen that. Might have been a missed opportunity. Always so cool to see what the community comes up with, and I bet you we're going to get some cool ideas here. My favorite of which being, let's get a third-party stylus and a way to natively just attach it to this, maybe with a magnet, I don't know. All right, everybody, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are. Is this one you want to get? Are there better options? Do you not really play DS or shmups, and so this isn't for you? Let me know. MagicX, good job, team. Keep cooking. I can't wait to see what you come up with next. All right, everybody, let's get out of here. Now, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the content here to stay in the know for all of your favorite retro handhelds. And a special thanks once again to our channel members, our patrons, and our subs who make everything here possible for us. Perks with RH start for as little as $3 a month. Join us in our Discord to chat and play games. And join us on the podcast every Monday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, where we're going to be sharing with you the latest and greatest in handheld news and emulation. And also stay tuned for the live stream once again for this MagicX Zero 40. Can't wait to do some game tests with you all and dive more into this handheld. But until then, this has been Stubbs with RH saying, take care of your handhelds, everybody, and each other.